Can We Talk Podcast, episode 91, the interview.
As you guys can see, I'm Cal Jr. today. And this is going to be a great episode for 91. Something that I feel like has taken a long course to come along, but we're here.
Sure. 91 episodes is a lot. Like, it's a lot. I get it. It's a lot.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I was hyped at 50. Like, I was ready to give it up at 50.
Why?
I don't know. 50 just it felt like it was impossible to, like, get to at that time. We had a whole celebration. I don't even know if... I didn't know I would get this close or be this close to 50 at this point, honestly.
You got
talk.
it?
It's fine. You can talk.
Oh. So how do you feel about 91? It's all about you today.
It's always about me, but, you know.
And the black woman.
I don't know. I mean, it's here. I mean, it's taken a long time to get here. Like, it's taken 2 separate podcasts to get here. So, yeah. Anything that's over the 50 that I expected for it to happen is house money at this point. Literally, house money. My money in the house.
Let's let the viewers know, first off, your name and where you're from.
If
they haven't already.
I mean, the viewers know my name
they
is Calvin, and they know I'm from Hawaii. We've had that conversation a few times, but yeah.
Okay. Are you single, in a relationship, or dating?
We got to save that one for later.
Okay. Perfect.
Get into your bag. You over here being so tranquilly. What's the word? Tranquilly?
I'm threading light right now, you guys. I'm threading light right now.
No, get into. I don't want to
dive. I don't want to dive too much in because I could take him for a spin, and then he's like, "Whoa!" He's like the SpongeBob meme that everyone tosses around. So
that couldn't happen. But get into the stuff you has sent me. I don't even know if like relationship stuff is even anything I want to talk about.
So what made you want to do a pod talk?
The word pod talk or like the actual podcast?
Well, why would you want to do a podcast revolving the Can We Talk podcast?
Why did I start it?
Yes.
To give people a safe space. Like originally when I came out with the podcast ideal, it was legit me just trying to combine 2 things I think I'm really good at: communication and cooking. As most people remember or know, the original podcast name was Sometimes We Eat, Sometimes We Talk. And as I've said many times, like, people started to just want to eat and like not talk. So I had to move away from that structure. And I also didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I tell people all the time, like, and they don't believe me when I say this, I literally started with a Galaxy S8 in 2019 with a regular table stand and like one of those light attachments to the phone.
Yeah. How
I started.
We all got to start somewhere.
I recorded literally a 7-minute video. Shout out to Courtney Cathy. I will always salute her no matter how many times she's ghosted the pod since then. She's been on since then, but it's been a while. It's hard to get her on. But she came through. We recorded 10 minutes, a 10-minute episode. And me trying to be the new podcast guy was like, oh, we got to edit that out. Like, I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. Like, I don't want to do any of that. So cut it down to like, I think it was 6 minutes and like 47 seconds.
And were you stationed here in Austin or where was that at?
So technically Austin, but it's basically same area, like Tech Ridge area. So we were there in that original apartment that I started the podcast in. It was like, it's so funny because like those episodes exist in the universe. They're just not visible to anybody else but me.
So from 2019 to right now, what hurdles have you overcame just to get to episode 91?
I mean, hurdles is a light word. Like, it's probably like mountains. would probably be the better definition.
We have to jump over a hurdle.
Yeah, I had to jump over mountains to get here because I've had to deal with so many people. Like, there's people on the podcast that will never come back on the podcast, not because I don't dislike them or we're not cool. It's just it didn't make for good content, in my opinion. So,
Right.
And I also went through 5 co-hosts in that time frame.
Wow.
So
I thought it was only 2.
No. So
Oh, my.
originally the podcast, which is the one that started the Sometimes We Eat, Sometimes We Talk podcast, was started with, at the time, a really great friend, still a great friend. I don't know why I said at that time. Hopefully I get her on for episode 100 because that's gonna be a wild experience. But like, I've been wanting to start a podcast since 2017, but unlike now, as we discussed on one of the previous episodes, you couldn't get podcast equipment like that now. Like back then, to get a lapel mic, to get these microphones, you either had to spend $200, $300, $400, $500 on this shit. And at that time, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I spent maybe $600, $700 on some equipment that's in that closet back there that is unusable. Like once I received it and got it, I found out it was extremely I couldn't use it. Like not only did I not know how to use it, I learned afterwards I couldn't use it, and I had already spent that much money on it. So I've gone through maybe 7 groups of mics in my time as well. So like I at least back then, like I was like, I want to do this podcast. Let's do it. C was my first co-host. We did 3 episodes before it blew up. Like, and it blew up just because of differences and not really understanding where exactly each of us were coming from. After that, I transitioned to Kay. Shout out to Kay. She's always a welcome. Yes, she was the first guest that was here in this apartment. So I think that's like episode 70, not 70, episode like 81 or 80 or something like that. The first person that was here. She's always welcome on the pod. She knows that. And then after that, I transitioned to Brittany and Raven. We did about 32 of the episodes of this podcast, have them 2 and me also co-hosting. There's actually 1 episode that's out there that I'm not even on.
Oh, wow.
And if you're a fan of the podcast, you'll figure exactly out what that episode is. I was in the building, but I was not on camera. I didn't speak or anything like that. So, yeah, we did about 38. Once that situation kind of dispersed, shout out to Brittany, shout out to Raven. We just went different ways at different times. Like it just was a natural thing. Like when the pandemic was up and no one was going outside, like this was the turn up. The pod was the turn up, you know? And Brittany had I think he's 19 now. Her son was like 18 at the time and he was graduating high school. So she was like, I love doing this every Thursday, but I got to focus on his accolades and stuff on his last year in high school. So she had to walk away.
Understandable.
Raven had to walk away for her own personal reasons or whatever the case may be. And after that, I was like, all right, it's time to make the podcast what it is now. And
so
just go hard.
I guess what motivates you to keep going for the podcast and what you're doing?
It's really, I don't know if it's a motivation. Like, I don't know if I use the word motivation. I just use the word of like, I can do it.
What makes you dedicated?
The fact that I can do it. The fact that like, I've seen so many fail and I love doing this. This is fun for me. The back end stuff is not fun. Like the organizing, the making sure, you know, people are available. Like I think I told you, maybe a week or 2 ago, or maybe 5 days ago, I don't know, time's irrelevant when you work from home, that like the 100 isn't really the goal because I could have been past 100 at this point if I just said yes to everybody. If getting to 100 with just having people on was the goal, I would have watched that goal.
Right.
But the fact that I've been able to get to this point with every single person that I personally want on, that I personally talked to, like that personally knows things about me in different ways, higher or less, like that's the goal. The goal is to get to 100 with being able to do that. Because again, you personally experienced it. Like you'll get DMs from people. Like I get those DMs all the time.
Crazy.
Like I get those all the time, and like I'm the person who has to sift through that shit. Like my Facebook podcast page is always DM'd by people. Like I follow a multitude of like Black podcast Facebook pages, and I'm one of the highest like members on there, like because of how much content I produce. Like we take maybe, as you know, like we at this point, which is your fifth time on, fourth, like we have at least taken at least 50 to 60 photos.
Right.
That are extremely exchangeable. Like that's content. Each of those pictures is content. I can post a different picture and different angle of us
every single day.
Every single fucking day.
Yeah.
And that's for every guest I've had on, ever. So think about that. That's like 90 times 50.
So what separates your podcast from everyone else's?
Nothing. I think there is some extremely like emboldened podcasters that are out there. Now, if you want to use the words separates my podcast from like the celebrities podcast, I think it's pretty simple. I'm not a celebrity, in my opinion. You know, like a lot of podcasters do want the studio feel. I've never wanted the studio feel. I've looked into what that looks like, honestly. Like studio time for podcasters is a really tough out for people who really just want to create content. I had this conversation with Savon too, because she wants to start a podcast, and she asked the masses about podcast studios and stuff like that. You know what the biggest, I guess, the easiest comparison I can make it into is, you know how rappers pay for studio time?
Right.
Right? And like an hour is $200 maybe, right? You can knock out 2 or 3 songs in an hour.
Right? If you remember your lyrics.
Right? If right? Like you can, if you already have the songs in place, you wrote it down, you can spend an hour, $200 in the studio and knock out 2 or 3 songs if you got all the shit together. Studios are the same thing when it comes to podcasts. It's still the 200 plus per hour, but if you want to limit yourself to an hour podcast every episode, then that not only distracts you from what you actually want to talk about, it makes your guests feel uncomfortable in a sense, but it also makes your guests feel cool. Like they want to be in that studio environment, so they'll be in it. They're willing to be in that environment with you, but they won't talk as much as they want to talk. And then you just racked up $400 for a 2-hour long podcast. And that's for audio only. Like they're going to tack on another $150, $200 per hour to record your shit. The only difference in recording my podcast in podcast equipment studios is what is called, what's the easiest way I can explain that to the masses who don't know? They're called switch cams. It's a mixer like this, but it's a switch cam. So when someone's talking, all someone has to do is press a button and it focuses on them. So imagine if I had like 3 phones here. One's here, and then one's angled to you there, and then this one's for the overview.
But then that's also a lot of editing.
It is. It actually isn't actually, because like if you have enough money, all the cameras are connected to the mixer.
Is that something that you're wanting to do in the near future?
No, not anywhere near. Like absolutely not. Like I don't think that I need that level of production just yet.
So what are your plans for the future for your podcast?
Get to 100 first.
Which we are.
And then
episode 91, 9 more to go.
I will continue to travel. As people know, we've done episodes in Dallas. I've done episodes in San Antonio, and just travel to different spaces. One of the things that opened my eyes up was when we were in Dallas. Like, I got an Airbnb, and I don't know if I've talked to you about this. I don't know who I've talked to about this, but like, it opened so much space in regards to like what my set could look like. Because people know, like, I guess episode 79 or something like that was the last episode we did in my previous location, on my previous apartment. I had a wall covered in stuff and accolades and just like pure stuff that I really cared about. And I thought that was what my vision would be like here too. I was like, I was ready to sacrifice this whole wall over here full of shit. But then Dallas gave me that negative space that's necessary. So like the space in between us and here is about 10, 11 feet maybe, if that. And the negative space gives texture to the video.
Right.
You know, like this sign here, those signs there, like, but those were like on my back at the old place, and light reflected off the wall so much. So it's not my best quality, but after Dallas, I decided like, okay, if I'm going to record a podcast in my place, I'm going to make sure there's a lot of negative space behind to give context to the visual of the podcast.
And what made you think that way? What made you think that way?
Recording in that Airbnb, because there was so much negative space in the background. If y'all go back and look and see the green couch.
With the green couch? I was just going to say with the
negative
green
space.
couch.
Like the way that Airbnb was set up was like the green couch was like an L shape, and it didn't have a kitchen, but it had like a full like, well, it technically had a kitchen, but the kitchen and the couch were in the same room. So like along the walls,
Like a studio apartment.
yeah.
Okay.
But having a bedroom too. So like it was a one bedroom with like a studio fill, washer and dryer, big ass shower, like.
But no kitchen.
No kitchen.
Made sure of that.
Maybe there was a stove. I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't go there to cook. I went there to record podcasts and go see a Dallas Mavericks game. But the negative space is what changed everything for me. I'm like, I need negative space moving forward. And fortunately, I maybe only recorded 3 more episodes back at the crib, the old crib, before I moved into here, because that was like Dallas was in December. I moved into here in February.
Well, while we're talking about cooking, are you more passionate about cooking or podcasting or both?
Cooking, 1,000% is my number one passion. If I couldn't podcast, oh, that was a burp. I just pulled a U on you. No, cooking for sure. Like 100%, it's cooking. I love food way more than I do conversation and communication. But at the end of the day, they both kind of play really equal parts in my life. Like, for me to be able to speak to the amount of people I speak to. Because, again, I know you're the unicorn and you didn't do the video chat, whatever, but, like, hundreds of people have. And even if I've had the video chat with people, sometimes schedules just do not link up in a way where they can be on. But I'm not angry about it, because I know eventually there's going to be a day where they hit me on, like, hey, what you doing Thursday? I guess we pod, and, like, that's going to happen eventually, so... But food for sure.
Have you ever thought about doing a food podcast?
I tried. That was my start.
Well, not the Food and Talk podcast, but I mean like where you're actually just podcasting nothing but food and just talking.
No, I don't have access to enough people who love food as much as me.
You never know.
No, I know. Like it's actually pretty simple when it comes to food, right? Like food people talk about food right off the bat. It's not their favorite restaurants, not what tastes good. Like food people, I've had chefs on here. Shout out to Gil, my guy. We'll get you back on. I know you're busy, going crazy with the catering. I love that for you. We'll get him back on, but he's one of the most influential like chefs that I've ever met, because I've met tons of chefs. I've been in the industry for a decade at this point.
Who are a few people that inspire you then?
Food wise?
Yeah.
Not anyone I personally know. Like as far
what about
as food
Gil?
goes.
You just spoke about.
No, Gil's a fantastic. Like he is what I would have wanted to be if I wanted to pursue catering. Like he's the definition of that. Like 1,000%. Like he's up there, and he's such a dope person. Like when he came here, like it was off a whim, and that's what's so dope about podcasting, because compared to food, it's kind of the same. Like you'll go eat some food and not know who the fuck's cooking it.
Period.
You'll come
and be like, it's good or it's nasty.
Yeah. People will come podcast with me not knowing shit outside of the 20-minute conversation that we've had. Like, again, I've met some of the dopest people in the universe just from podcasting alone. Like
I'm one.
You are one for sure. Like there's just such a combination of things like that. But inspired me wise, I can easily say my parents, like as far as food goes, because there was no food dynamic in my household growing up. Like my dad would cook majority of the time. My mom would cook majority of the time. Like it wasn't like a you cook clean type shit. It was it was literally like
50-50.
Whoever is home
is available.
First
right.
cooks the meal. And my dad is like a food gadget guy. Like he has a whole fucking garden in his backyard right now.
What are some of your favorite meals that your dad has made for you then?
I gotta be honest. Like, I don't know. Like, my taste buds are different now. Like, I can't really eat my parents' cooking the way I used to. Like,
Childhood. Let's go back 20 years. Let's go back 20 years. What was the favorite meal that inspired you to say like, hey, like, I want to cook when I get older?
I mean, nothing. I was a frozen chicken nuggets fry guy.
Oh, so your dad was warming up food.
No, not that. That like the food they would cook. I didn't want to become this level of cook until I was like 21 years old. Like I didn't even know this was an option for black people until I was 20, 21 years old.
Why not?
Because I didn't know any black men who cooked anything other than fried chicken and ribs.
In your area?
No, at all. Like at all. And if you can tell me your past, you ate Korean food, Vietnamese food, Chinese food, plus Indian food, plus Trinidadian, Jamaican. If you can tell me that you experienced all those cultures as a child, then you're an outlier.
Absolutely not.
You're an outlier. So that's what I mean by cooking. Like, I don't mean just soul food. Soul food is amazing, right? It's not something we should be eating every day, but it's what our grandparents, our parents taught us should be cooked every day. But my dad went outside of the spectrum every once in a while. So I can't say that I was inspired by that, but what I can say is that I was shown it early. Like I was able to see that kind of level of cooking outside of that. My dad would fucking, back in the day when there was like the whole lobsters in the fucking tub and shit like that, would go grab. I don't come from struggle. Like, I tell people this all the time. Like,
nah, facts. Facts. What they say, silver spoon, food.
I don't pretend like I can't. Like, I don't pretend like I didn't have a meal on the table. Like, I don't pretend like I had to go sell drugs in fucking Pflugerville in 2007. Like, I don't pretend that. I don't have 78660 tattooed on me. Like, I didn't have to do that.
Okay. Let's bring it back to the food. So what's your favorite meal to make?
Love pastas, but I love fresh pastas. That's a huge slight difference. Like, I love pastas, but fresh is always better, of course. I don't really have a style of cooking. Like, as people notice and people have watched me cook throughout the years, like, I try to master things in bunches. So, for an easy example, like traditional American Chinese, like I'll go and try to figure out how to make beef and broccoli from scratch at home. I'll go and try to make orange chicken from home. I'll go and make sesame seed chicken from home. I'll steam my own rice. I'll go and try to learn how to make dumplings from scratch, like dough and all, wrappers and stuff like that. I'll go and try to make certain things from certain like cultures, but in bunches. Like, I'll do all this shit for like a month or two. And then, what else do I want to learn how to do? Maybe I want to do Sicilian and Italian. Like, maybe I want to make meatballs from scratch. Maybe I want to make pasta from scratch. Maybe I want to make pizzas from scratch. Let's do Korean. Maybe I want to learn how to marinate pork belly and fucking beef and marinate that to the point where you can put it like on a skillet and things like that and call that Korean barbecue. Or if I want to do hot pot or Chinese hot pot, like I want to visit 3 or 4 of those type of restaurants and kind of gauge and learn. I've had at least 12 different hot pot restaurants that I've tried. One in New York, a few here, a few in Dallas, a few in Houston, a few in San Marcos. Like, I don't pretend to know everything if I want to cook something. Like, I will go out and try it a few times and get a better understanding of what it should be. A lot of times these TikTok cooks just...
Hey.
They just cook it up. And they don't really explain to you how they learn how to do it, when in all reality, all they did is watch YouTube videos.
Have you ever messed up a meal?
Absolutely. You don't get to this level that I am without spending and losing thousands of dollars.
And what level are you at?
I would say way above average. Way above average. Like, honestly, if I continued culinary school, I would be above that degree.
What culinary school did you go to?
The Art Institute. It doesn't exist anymore. It used to be right there on the corner, right across the street from La Frontera. It used to be, actually there was a ton of different levels to it, but it was the Art Institute in Round Rock. So what's that strip club across the street?
Perfect 10.
No.
Rick's.
Is it Rick's? No. Is it Rick's? By Target?
Yes.
Yeah, right across the street was the Art
Shout out to
Institute.
the stripper.
Shout out to y'all for sure.
So you went there. What year?
2013?
Do you remember anyone from there?
No,
Any instructors?
no, because I didn't stay very long. So, at least back in the day, cooking this high level and black men doing it wasn't prevalent. Like I can be completely honest with you. Like, I've had this conversation with Gil too. Like everyone he graduated culinary school with don't cook anymore because it's not profitable easily. Like you need a degree plus 3 or 4 years of experience in the field too. I skipped the degree and went straight to the field. So I stopped going to culinary school because I couldn't afford it. Culinary school is the equivalent, and this is at that time. I don't know what it looks like now. I'm sure there's tons of
It's still expensive.
programs that are like, willing to pay you to do it. But at that time in 2013, a degree from the Art Institute in culinary was the equivalency of 2 years of going to UT.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Because it was such a niche art at the time for people who were outside of our personal color. Like, of course, if you're upper middle class white, you can afford that, just like anyone who's upper middle class can afford to go to UT. But if you're, black, Hispanic, or any other kind of duration,
A minority,
outside of white,
basically.
yeah. It's a tough out. So I ultimately decided to not even worry about that aspect, and I just started working in restaurants.
So what are some of the restaurants and jobs that you've had to transpire into what you are now?
So, believe it or not, Austin Parks and Pizza's kitchen.
It's not Austin Park and Pizza anymore.
It's Austin's, I know.
I still call it Austin Park and Pizza.
I started working in Austin Parks and Pizza when I was 18 years old. It was my first job.
Wow. In the kitchen?
No, as just a regular ride attendant pushing dirty ass go-karts. But I think the person who is like the GM, still the GM, I don't know. We fell out. It's weird. I don't want to talk about that. But there was a guy who was in the kitchen. I can't remember his name to save my life. Hope you're still out there, buddy. But he would do things outside of the kitchen, like in regards to like bringing black culture into the kitchen. And I was we was all black back then. We were all the ride attendants were black back in the day. And he would like bring kind of influence to the kitchen. He'd be like, we're going to do a barbecue day. We're going to make a barbecue pizza today. Because back then,
Where
literally,
was that?
because back then, literally, the fucking line. If you've been in that shit, the fucking pizza was trash. Pizza was trash. Salad was trash. Just
Everything was
everything
trash.
was trash.
Everything.
But he would like tell our GM like, "Hey, I'm gonna cook up some barbecue. I'm gonna bring my smoker. I'm gonna put it right in front of the fucking bumper boats, and we're gonna start adding fucking barbecue to the fucking pizzas and cooking them shits." And he like gravitated towards me just because like I don't know if I have that energy that I'm cool with just older people or whatever, but like he would just like bring me along. He would show me the process of different things. I already knew how to cook barbecue. My dad barbecued like mad times. We used to have like, I don't know how big of our backyard it was, but it was a big ass backyard, so my family was always the host family, but him just showing me what that looks like and me being able to go into the kitchen, being an employee there and just watching them make the foods and learning what that looks like, that is where that kind of inspiration started to grow. My second restaurant I ever worked at was Luby's.
That's my spot right there. My parents raised me on there. I love that spot. I don't care what people say about it. I love that spot. Love them.
I loved it because I got 50% off. So your boy was going in. Pies,
Love them.
Fries, shrimps. Like it was
I
up.
love
It was
them.
up.
I was so happy when HEB had now they have the little
frozen meals?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was up, and I was maybe at that time 20 years old, and I remember having a coworker. Her name was Linda. She was an OG. She was like in her 50s at the time. So, shit, she's 60 something.
I was like, she old now.
Yeah, she's pushing it. And she had told me we were back in the day. Like I was a server at Luby's too, but I got to watch the kitchen shit.
So you worked your way up. That's what you're telling
Yeah,
me.
like I literally did the serving shit, and I never got in the kitchen at Luby's. Don't hate me for y'all being sick, but
I was never sick.
but I got to watch things from afar and
it gave you
develop some kind of like mindset of how I would do it better. So I didn't work there long, shout out to her, but she had told me a story about she had never driven a car in her life.
Oh my.
She's 50 years old. She had her son's driver, her dude she was with driver, and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I don't want to be this age and not like do stuff. Like, I mean, I've already driven at this point. I drove here to work. You got dropped off, but like, it's just that notion of like consistently hearing from older people what you should do when you're younger.
Right.
And at that time, I used to work 3 jobs for no reason. Like I was working
single
so
and
dumber.
active and money hungry, probably.
Yeah, I worked at Austin Parks and Pizza, Olive Garden, and Luby's, and I picked Luby's and Olive Garden because I could wear the same pants, like black pants. So I get off on one shift, go over here, do the same shits, and Olive Garden's really what took me to the next level culinary wise because like the kitchen's so close, like in the fact that I'm serving tables, getting my ass kicked all fucking day, running around, pretending to be like nice and shit.
Pretending?
Yeah, fuck those folks. But like pretending to be nice.
So you're not a nice person?
No, not when I'm sweating and you fucking asking for breadsticks all fucking day. But those levels of like experience changed a lot of things for me, and I was eventually able to get in the kitchen at Olive Garden, and that's a story we'll never tell. But I learned different facets of things being in the restaurant industry.
So it seems you have a lot of experience in the restaurant industry.
Mm-hmm.
What are your goals for cooking wise in the near future?
Nothing. I don't want to be involved with it on a job level.
Well, not a job level, but
part-time.
What are your goals? Do you want to... It seems you're passionate about cooking. It seems you love it. So what are your plans for the near future?
There may be some kind of like way I can restart doing like lessons like I did in my previous place, or what they're called ghost kitchens. There are a few available here in Austin and surrounding areas where you can really like literally just rent out the kitchen area space for like 2 or 3 hours. It's kind of like the same studio conversation as it is with like podcasting. Like I'd rather just do it here if I don't have to spend $300-$400 per hour to work in a commercial kitchen when I know I have the tools and the experience to pump it out here just as I would there. So, I mean, classes is something that's coming back up in my mindset, but at the end of the day, like whether that happens or not, I still have friends who want me to cook for them, and that's where the passion is. Like I love doing that. I love friends just say, "Hey, here's $20. Hey, here's $20. Here's $20. We don't feel like grocery shopping. You go get the groceries. We just sent you $75, $80 cash app. We want steak. We want lobster. Bet. Cool. I'll grab the shits, cook it, make it look amazing for you. Have experience, music, turn up, talk, drink. Just have a great fucking night, and not have to worry about the hustle and bustle of being in a restaurant, being annoyed about parking, just tipping, like all that extra stuff that comes with going to a decent restaurant. Like I love that experience here because it makes people comfortable and it makes people trust you too, because you can actually watch me do the shit. I don't make people hide. I don't close your eyes. Like, no, this is from start to finish. This is exactly what I'm doing from start to finish. And no, I'm not using garlic powder and onion powder like you guys would. Like,
who is you?
Most people use garlic powder and onion powder.
I like fresh garlic.
I mean, that's a plus, but majority of our culture.
No, I understand. Yeah, but fresh products are always a must.
Absolutely, we can't always afford them. Like going to Dollar Tree to get steaks and shit.
Hey, that's another pod. We're talking about you. So, let's talk about the pod. How does cooking and the pod tie into in the near future?
I want to separate. I've always, after I tried to put them together originally, I've always wanted to separate them.
Just keep it separated.
Mm-hmm.
So
people think like people in the masses out there think like I manipulate people to come on the podcast.
He does. He definitely does not manipulate me.
People think like, oh, you just cook for them and they come. I'm like, yeah.
This man has never cooked for me. This man has never. When I hear,
I mean, that's not the truth at all. If you think that's the truth, then that's your own thought process. Like I told you on the last episode, I'm like, I let people decide exactly how they think about me, and I don't clear up shit. I let people decide exactly what my role is in their life. Like if that's what you come up with for my story, write that book write it. I would love to read it. It would be a fantastic book.
So how would you describe yourself, Calvin?
Someone who just likes to exist in spaces that he's comfortable in. Like I love the kitchen. I love podcasting. Podcasting is done. I can maybe say like as far as the two go, like podcasting and cooking have done the equal amount of networking. Like both of them, like together, like same amount of networking on their own. There is a level where I know I can take it to where I can do things in other cities where cooking in another city will blow me out of the fucking roof.
So why don't you do it?
Funds. I think it costs to do this on a trip too. The last trip was the Dallas trip. That's why I keep referencing it. But like that costs. It costs to go to a Dallas Mavs game. It costs to have an Airbnb for a couple of days. It costs to be able to make that trip. Like as when people go to Dallas, they might hit up Cocktail Kitchen or whatever it's called and spend $70 on some lamb chops they don't really like. But like if I travel with the pod, it's going to cost because I'm not going to travel. I don't travel alone. Like I'll go with 3 or 4 people. And of course we'll all chip in. We'll all like try to figure out what that would look like ultimately. And that's what I want it to look like. As of right now, I've only traveled with 1 or 2 people with the pod, but like I want a team. And it costs to do that. Like it just does. Like I think people think like I should just be able to show up to Dallas and be like, figure it out. First of all, I have to be able to coordinate conversations with people in a different city to be at a place in their own personal city based off of where I'm at. Dallas and Houston are huge cities. If I get an Airbnb on the north side and you stay on the south side and it's
30-minute drive.
If it's a weekday and I say, hey, let's get you in at 7 and it takes you an hour and a half to get there, what benefit does that
Gonna show up late like me every time.
What's the benefit? Like what's the benefit of a person that's driving that? Like they just got off of work too.
Well, you also have to see, do you have supporters that are truly dedicated for your pod? Do you have people that truly support just you? Some people, they support you just off strength. Do you have people in your corner that you would say that support you? Other than me.
No, absolutely. You kind of you would have met one if you got out your car, but you didn't.
Oh, I was trying to register the parking space.
No, absolutely. I have. That's why I said like.
I don't want my car to be done.
That's why I was saying like the co-hosts I've had like they're all solid like.
I sent the other girl the friend request. I was gonna ask her, did she want to come on with me? The one from episode 89.
You talked for Kwana?
Yeah.
You DM Kwana?
Well, no, I had sent her a friend request. I was waiting for her to send me back. But that's another discussion for another time and different day.
She's not going to accept that, but I can talk. We can make that happen. We can make that. I would love a Kwana and you episode. That would be fire.
Yeah.
But no, I absolutely have supporters. Like I think that like people think like I don't have Austin supporters. Let me put it that way. Like I have supporters that are.
Why do you feel that way?
Because the city is weird and lame. Like.
Do you feel as if you don't know a lot of people in the city?
I know mad people, allegedly.
Okay.
I'm word of mouth for the most part.
Word of mouth? Didn't I say in the last episode? Word of mouth.
You did.
Pew, pew,
you did.
pew, pew, pew.
I'm word of mouth. Like I don't go out there. You'll never see me say subscribe. I just kind of post what I do.
Well, I'm going to make sure that you guys like and subscribe and comment on this episode.
I just post what I like. Like I literally just episode 90. Hey, it's available, guys. If you want to go to it, go watch it. If you don't. Hey, episode 89. It's available. Go watch it. If you want to watch it, you will. 98% of the people who watch the podcast on YouTube are dudes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like,
They're probably looking at the black women, not you.
I
Probably
would
not
hope
even
so.
listening.
I mean, I would hope so. But even the listening shit is like 60-40 men and women.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like our streaming, which is across, I think 10 platforms at this point. I think Amazon's now there too, and iHeart. A lot of people don't have an iHeart. Want to know why? It's another story for another time. But like,
Oh, wow.
the podcast is doing well. Like it's doing better than people who can see would see. If I put it, if that makes sense. Like you can't go see what it's doing outside of YouTube.
So after the 100th episode, what's your goal? What's your plan?
Oh, I'm revamping everything. I'm changing every piece of equipment that I have. I'm changing thumbnails. I'm doing different pieces of content. We'll do certain episodes where the start of the podcast is going to be a reel. Like we'll do reels more. Like I'll actually have somebody, if not me, doing like coming in here, walking around with the camera and just like pre-shit, like the shit, just hanging out, listening to music. You're on your phone. I'm on my phone. Like we're just hanging out. That kind of energy will be a part of the podcast moving forward. And then hopefully that trip to Houston will elevate even more because I already have 10 or 15 people in the tuck. For
Oh,
Houston.
wow.
Like, so that's why I'm like, it's going to cost. We'll have to stay there for 4 or 5 days to get all.
Oh, wow.
We'll have to stay there for a while to get all of the people that are available in there, whether I have to do by 3s or by 4s. Like it will take some time and it will take money to do that. So once I'm able to set aside at this point maybe $1,000, and then people's birthdays are coming up. Like it's gonna take time. It's gonna take money. It's gonna take some savings to do that the right way. It took time and money to save the right way to do the 2-day shit in Dallas. And I only had 4 guests that were available, and only 2 showed up.
And what career do you have right now?
Verizon.
Hey, and he's making it. You hear me? He makes it look easy. Well, Kyle, I can really go on and on for like hours and hours, but I don't want to do that to a lot of the viewers. So to sum it up, how can people truly support you?
I mean, one thing I got on you about is like shares do nothing for my podcast. Like I can, if you share something but don't have any like connection towards it, it may look cool in the moment. Like you may think you're helping. And I say that, and I'm saying this for all platforms across the board. A share does nothing.
It doesn't.
If you don't say anything. A share is a meme. If you just share a meme and you don't say anything on top of the meme, that's dead in the water.
That's why it's a time and place. That's why it's a certain time that you're supposed to post certain content.
12 to 1.
And then you share it on all platforms.
12
Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok, wherever.
Together. Like you want to coordinate that together. Like you want to like at 12 and 3, or 12 to 1, we want to post this shit at the same exact time. And we all want to say something positive about it at the exact same time. That's the only way to tip the scale. So if you do share things, share it with like emphasis. Like emphasize
with a comment on top.
Like emphasize that this was a dope experience for you. Not just, hey, I was here. Hey, this happened. Hey, tune in. Look. No. Say why they should look. Say, hey, this is a dope ass experience with Calvin. Episode whatever was fire as fuck. Y'all want to tune into this, and then you got to start watching it on your TV. Oh, and you have to start encouraging people to watch it.
We're not talking about me. We're talking about you.
I know, but I'm saying you do though.
Yeah.
You have to start watching.
What if I don't have a TV at home? What about the people who just watch from their phones and listen in their car?
Listening's different.
They're still
don't
supporters.
Don't listen on YouTube in your car. Listen streaming. But for YouTube, I encourage people to always watch the shit on your TV.
4K.
I have some really dope old friends from like high school that like hit my line and be like, me and my dude or me and my girl watch your shit religiously. Like we put that shit on.
And we appreciate that.
We got the baby. We're getting the baby down. Baby's gone to sleep. It's 9:00 at night. We turn your pod on. We watch it. We watch your style. We watch your mannerisms. We watch your guest mannerisms. We watch everything, and we love it. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. It gives us a fucking free night to like listen to someone who's from where we're from, whether they live here or not. You know what I mean? And I always get messages from people who are from overseas. Like, I love the fact that you guys have access to be able to do that. Y'all watch it however y'all watch it. I don't know y'all circumstances and situations. You watch that show on your TV.
Well, Susie appreciates however you support, watch, or listen. Truly, I do. But today, episode 91 was about Cal and getting to know his personal experience in life and becoming on why he started the whole podcast and what he's about. If you have anything else to say, I guess you can go ahead and close it off. Sir Cal?
I didn't want to talk about the boat. I'm not going to talk about it really, but like, that's a tough out.
The boat? What's the boat?
The submarine?
Oh, okay, you guys. Episode 91, Getting to Know Cal with Susie.
Thank you guys for listening.
It can really go on and on.
It really could, but we're on borrowed time.
Yeah,
right now.
but we're almost at like an
we're on
hour.
borrowed time, guys. I don't know. We can't really do this if we really want to talk about it. But like, this is the Can We Talk podcast, episode number 91. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you guys for listening. Goodbye.
Make sure you like and subscribe.